Poetical Outlaws.
Hello and welcome to Poetical Outlaws, the podcast. In conversation today, we have no other than Pip McDonald. Hello, Pip.
Well, hello, Gary. How are you?
I'm fine. I was going to put some artificial crowd cheering in after that, but I thought, no, let's keep it natural.
Let's keep it natural. We could cheer for ourselves. Woo!
Exactly. Hey!
Wait.
So thank you very much for coming on. For people who may not have know anything about you, can you give them a brief introduction about who you are and what you do?
It's just Pip, I'm afraid, Gary. That idiot experimental performance poet from Sunderland. Sometimes who performs in London as well. I basically kind of fell into it. I was an accidental poet. It's just all about, telling the truth about bin liners, bin liners, hospitals, grief, all of those things.
Excellent. And I've seen you perform and you're absolutely fantastic. So let's give the listeners one of your poems now. And I think this one is called Come Scran with Us.
Come Scran with Us. Right, yes. So there's a bit of a history, there's a bit of a context to this poem. Right. So it was created as part of a collaboration with Come Scran with Us, the account on Instagram run by Lisa and Liam, who often come to Poetical Outlaws to support the poets.
Yes. So
it was created with them in mind, and it was performed first live at 24 North East, the new gallery in Sunderland City Centre. Please go and support them. And I was working with a lovely chap called Ken Devine. So this is about celebrating a bit of food in the North East with a specific focus on Sunderland. And it goes a little bit like this. Are you ready?
We're ready.
Sunderland Scran requires our admiration. So please accept my poetic invitation. Scran is innovation, a revelation. Be a Scran warrior. There's no limitations. Failure to follow Come Scran with Us on Instagram would be an abomination, some digital devastation. Get them followed and excite your culinary imagination. Culinary worlds collide. Find somewhere to sit outside, eat al fresco. This is an unapologetic food poem, a manifesto, a word-based appetizer, a Scran recogniser. Sunderland Scran is purer than any prawn tempura. All hail the holy Scran. Let's become a consecrated culinary superfan. A tabernacle tofu for cooking clan. War city, war Scran. So let's Scran max for food-based acts. Scran is more than just Scran, more than just the ingredients in the pan. If you scan for Scran in Sunderland, you'll never be disappointed, Reet, because there's always a canny place to eat on every street. From come dine with me to come Scran with us. Don't worry, everyone will adjust. I'm so excited. I don't know where to start for Scran. There's so much to eat, so don't gan yem. Where would Vesta Tilly gan for Scran? Would it be Nando's because she can? We can be rebels with a foodie cause. Am I menopause? What about Koji opposite the Empire Theatre? Right now, ramen, noodles, bow, there's lots to think outside the bento box. My stomach sings for spicy cauliflower wings. The go-to is tofu. And when your stomach growls, you know that feeling as it howls. Scran deserves a standing ovation. So how about a bite to eat? Let's go to the fire station. A fine location. What's it all about? 'Cause Shy Ben's getting out. I'm a culinary convert. So devout. Don't ever put sheepfolds on hold. Remember, Ember, I'm a sheepfolds defender. A new menu every 7 weeks. A real themed treat. Sheepfolds Stables puts canny food on the tables 7 days a week. Even the hairy bikers are providing food that will delight us. Pie, mash and gravy. I'm definitely that casserole lady. I'm totally fanacalty about panacalty. All of the things. Mince and dumplings. It's important that we support local food producers, good for us, and part of our future, and you cannot beat an osteria. Vetoes, you heard it here. Bring on the platters with good table manners. Total blaster with lush pasta, cured meats and all the Italian eats. I scream for pizza, don't you? It's worth screaming for because it's New York style. Totally cool. Behold the bottomless brunch. Munch, munch, munch. Lots of pizza on shore. Bring on the sourdough. Truffle and parmesan because we can, for the love of the Scran. Don't just stay in and watch the telly. Gan to Marcello's for tagliatelle. Carbonaras for all the maras. And even when you're skint, the early bird Marcello's menu is mint. Everything in life is canny al forno. Order on Just Eat and your mobile phono. Canny food on dial. Arrive in Angelo's in Arrabbiata style. You can never go wrong with a Greg's pasty, but remember the antipasti. Bow down to Pablo Escobar. Howe'er the hash brown. The hashy jukebox simply rocks with sriracha. Coming at you. Perhaps life would not be the same without spent grain. There's so much to gain from the brain behind the grain, so please let me explain. No pain, no grain in the good food domain. You must understand, Scran is more than just Scran. Scranning around is fun in Sunderland. And let the food adventure start on Instagram. Let's have a feast in 24 Northeast.
Fantastic stuff there. In fact, that was so good. I'm hungry. Shall we scrap the podcast and go for some food?
Well, yeah, I think priorities, food,
There's plenty of good places to eat in Sunderland now. There's a lot better than it was. But yeah, that was excellent. Thank you very much for that. So what was it that first inspired you to put pen to paper in the first place?
I think it was when I met a poet from London called Lee Campbell. And during the pandemic, a lot of the open mics, like everything else, went online.
Yeah.
And he was doing so much creative stuff with Zoom. And it ignited something in me that thought, I want to build, I don't just want to stand and read a poem. I want to build an experience around a poem to engage the audience more than just if I was just standing there.
You do that really well. You're engaging. Sorry.
Don't apologise. No, I feel like that's what I want to do. I want to, to create an experience, build an experience around a poem, whether that's using, some props like this, or whether it's, a little sound effect or two, or whether it's putting poems and a bit of music together. It's just, I suppose that's where the fun, the experimental side comes in, because you can work with other artists, other creatives to create something. So Lee Campbell really has been a huge part of my spoken word journey. And then as you can't separate poetry from life. So a lot of the things I experienced, like the death of my mum, I wrote a lot about grief. I wrote a lot about illness. And it was about, telling the truth.
Yeah.
And you might have ideas incubating for like a year or so, and then you suddenly write them. I actually write a lot in Greg's. It's a cappuccino and a vegan sausage roll, and I just sit and write in Greg's. It's just, shedding light on the everyday, things, everything from bin liners to Tesco Express to Primark to toilet rolls. you know,
and food.
or food,
know.
just articulating the everyday. And it's just something that I've really enjoyed doing. Maybe it's with a twist of attempted comedy as well, hopefully.
I think you do. I think you do that perfectly. So had you wrote long before you decided, like, all this to perform and that? Had you been writing beforehand, and then one day just thought, I want to do something else with this?
It was more to do with writing songs on my guitar. My dad gave me his acoustic guitar that he worked all summer as a young person for. And I used to write songs. I really used to love writing lyrics and writing songs.
Right.
So it was lyric writing before poetry and spoken word. And I recorded 3 songs, I think, as a teenager in the bunker.
Right.
And then ended up writing a poem called Ode to the Bunker later on. And then it was about writing for page and then writing for performance, and how I could adapt a poem for performance. So I would end up with 2 versions of the same poem, maybe one that was slightly shorter for performance.
Right. Yeah.
Because there's something special about performance, isn't there? That live moment.
There is, and it's like what you've seen there about having the 2 versions. It's, I don't know for you, but I'll write, and sometimes you feel this is coming out as a performance poem.
Yes.
And then other poems will come out, whereas I'm pretty lazy and I don't work on them. I just put them to one. There could be really good poems, but I just chuck them to one side and go, well, that's not for performing, So when you first ever got up and performed, what was that like?
I can remember going to London to my first open mic in London. I think it was in South London. It was an event called Gobjaw. It's a lovely word, isn't it? Gobjaw. And where I actually met Lee in person, who inspired me. And I think I performed a poem called Climate Punks. And, well, it was just, everyone was sort of very supportive. There was a community around it. And that feeling of getting up on a stage and performing your original work through a microphone is a massive privilege, and it's scary. But I think that was the first open mic in London, and before that I'd done a few things on the guitar at some creative events.
At open mics as well. Yeah.
Where I was living, there was a creative community there. And so I tried to make the most of that. And it was just a lovely opportunity to share original work. There's nothing better than hearing someone's authentic words or stuff that they've written. There's something very special about that.
Yeah, I think you can tell when it's something authentic rather than somebody writing about something in particular. Sometimes you hear someone read that poem and they might be trying to make a point or whatever, but it doesn't feel like it's coming from inside. And I think you can tell that as an audience member,
Yeah.
And I think to me that the authenticity matters more than the actual content of the poem.
Yeah, sometimes, definitely. And you can't cheat yourself. You go up and tell your truth. And there's a fire in your belly. I've written a lot about grief. So there was 2 poems published in this anthology. So there was an organisation called Writers and Scribers in London, and it did a workshop with them on poetry and loss. And they launched their anthology at the Royal Festival Hall, and we all got to perform there, and it was magic. So, yeah, there was a lot on grief and the kind of the lived experience about supporting someone that's very ill in hospital. And, those are very difficult things. But if you can articulate them and share them in communities, I think that there's something very meaningful about that.
Yeah, I think people can connect. In an authentic poem, people can connect.
Yeah.
So if you're doing a poem about grief and people are going through that as well, I think it's very beneficial because then you could be an audience member and you start feeling someone's expressing those words of what I'm feeling as well. And I think that's very important whenever we're talking about grief, mental health, or anything like that. And I think that's really good, you know. And they're part of the poem. When I go out and see poetry, that's the sort of thing that I like to hear. For me personally, I'm not into wandering like lonely clouds, and you know, it might be brilliant poetry and things like that, you know, it could inspire people, but for me that's not my thing. It's the performance of it as well, the expression,
the way people build an experience around a poem, how they use their body, how they use the space. You know, sometimes I don't stand at the front, I wander off, particularly at your event. I've been very badly behaved and I've gone right to the back. Well, it's just, you know, disrupt the space with your poem, you know, have an experience there. You know, we're talking about really serious things and I've got a hair in my mouth. So I'm going to have some tea.
No worries. Well, basically we covered there how you got performing. So I think we'll have you perform another poem now, if you don't mind. Which one? What one's this going to be called?
Well, I think, you know, I started with food and I'll start as I mean to go on. So this is Scampie Fries. And I'm just going to show off my very cool clipboard, just in case you forget. I forget my name. I think we could have a Poetical Outlaws clipboard.
That's something I maybe might have to invest in.
So some merchandise there. Right. So, yes, Ode to Scampie Fries. Gary, do you like Scampie Fries?
I don't know. Or pork scratchings.
Well, that's a different world.
They're all the same world to me. I'm like, okay.
Well, Ode to Scampie Fries. So again, this is this kind of theme about writing poems about everyday things like food, dishwashers, bin liners. If you can think of some new ideas, what we could do. Ode to the microphone. I don't know. Anyway, Ode to Scampie Fries. Arise, Scampie Fries, right before our eyes. On the tongue they do catalyse and capitalise on tangy delights, gliding in motion clockwise, dissolve into a delicious surprise. Let's analyse these micro parcels that keep me alive. Lemon and tangy vibes, they vaporise on the tongue, yet so small in size. Good things do come in small packages, let's be wise to these organic highs. I hear cries. If I was an academic, I'd specialise, and my subject specialism would be Scampie Fries. I tell no lies. A conference, a paper on Scampie Fries, snack utopia crystallised. You know what they say. Fries before guys. One hell of a packet, but I only have eyes for the fries. The way to my heart is through the Scampie Fries. I'm going to marry a bumper pack of Scampie Fries. I now pronounce you fry and wife. Philippa Fry, no hassle, no strife. Tinker, tailor, soldier, Fries. And when my eyes do so fall upon these organic delights, what a prize cannot be denied. I idolise these Scampie Fries. How could anyone possibly despise Scampie Fries? Looking at you, Gary. No word of a lie. I've got Scampie eyes. Let sleeping dogs lie, and let Scampie be fries. I want to be baptised in a sea of Scampie Fries. And if I met my demise, my last supper would be Scampie Fries. Thank you.
Excellent. A fantastic poem for anybody that loves Scampie Fries. I don't like Scampie Fries, but I still thought it was a brilliant poem. I know sacrilege by me. So let's talk about your publications. I've heard the other day that you've had your 6th book with, is it?
With Saurav Sarkar. So he advertises for a lot of anthologies. So he has a theme for anthologies, and I treat that as a prompt. So the most recent one I think was about global green issues globally. So I get really excited when I get a prompt and write something. So he advertises very regularly, and he also invites poets to submit, say, 10 poems of their own alongside 10 poems of his, to create a kind of shorter publication. So I had a wonderful opportunity to create my 6th book with him, and I'm very grateful for that. It's great to get stuff out there, and he publishes them on Amazon, so they're available. You can get them out there, get your work out there. So I'm really excited about that.
So is that like a bit like a band who does like a split EP or a split album, and you get one side of one group and then the other side of the other group, but in the poetry world?
Well, if you think about the food analogy, sometimes you go into a pizza place and you get half and half. So you might get a pepperoni and a margarita. So yes, I don't know who's who. I'm probably the margarita because I'm a little bit vegetarian these days. So, but it's kind of I suppose a collaborative approach to publication. So you're getting lots of poetic energy into one publication.
That sounds a really good idea, because you've got anthologies and you've got poets publishing their own stuff. But I'm liking the idea of like of 2 people in one.
Yes.
Book. Yeah.
We could do that, Gary. We could be 2 hats.
2 hats.
Yes.
One head.
Yes. I think we could get that to work,
We'll have a look into that at some point.
Will you be the poet? I'll be the outlaw. Let's get it down.
Well, I think you're the poet. I'll just write my stuff.
I think we could do it.
Right, so here you've got a show coming up at the Durham Free Fringe Festival. Yeah,
I'm really excited about that. So these are 1-hour shows in, I think, the Red Hills Miners venue, which is a really exciting place in Durham. Many moons ago, you and I both studied philosophy at Durham University, didn't we? Many moons ago.
We did.
Yeah.
You might have studied it. I usually say I'd done it.
Well, we did good.
We did.
It's hard work, isn't it? Yeah.
It is. I tell you what, what I found difficult was the difference in class. As in, on my first lecture, it was like an ethics and values.
I did that module.
So it was like 50 philosophy students, and there's people who are studying other disciplines.
Yes.
So there's 200 in this class, and I was standing behind these two girls chatting, and you started picking up. And at first I heard the accent, I thought, my God, these are posh, aren't they? And then I listened to what they were saying, and they were talking about the hoorays and how posh they were, and how this girl was probably got 6 horses and will get another 7th off for her birthday off her dad. And I was like, what, there's even posher than that? And I found, I don't know how you found that. I found it fairly difficult, and I found two young working class lasses who were overwhelmed by all of this, and they started saying, oh, we're not intelligent. And I went, 1,000 people applied for 50 places. Don't mistake posh accents and long words for intelligence, and I sort of looked after them, but I kind of just went there, done me work, came home and done me work in the house. I didn't feel comfortable with it was mad surroundings. How did you find it there? It
feels like a very long time ago, Gary. I feel like I'm showing my age. I think I was very curious, and my curiosity, no one's going to stop me from doing what I want to achieve.
Yeah.
So I just got stuck in. I think I got stuck in with some of the clubs as well. Like I played women's football, and that's, I kind of just, I didn't feel intimidated. I just wanted to get stuck in and find out the people. I think I received a bursary that helped as well. And I lived in
Yeah.
one of the colleges there as well, so it
right,
was
yeah.
you kind of make friends, and there's international students, and you can get stuck in. And I don't know, I immersed myself in it.
I think if you were younger and you were doing it, I was 40-year-old when I went, so there was also an age difference as well
Yes.
as the class differences,
But philosophy, those ideas, don't discriminate.
no.
And there are, so what did you do for your dissertation?
I don't know, poetical obligation, political obligation. Do we have a duty to obey the law? And I had to write, was it 12 or 15,000 words just to say no? But I enjoyed it. I fully
me too.
enjoyed it.
You
it
do.
was-
You really do enjoy it. It's the ideas and the take you somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it just keeps you alive thinking about this stuff, and it's a massive opportunity. Well done to us.
I know exactly, because
hard.
it's like what they fit in 3 years. They could have just give you one book and went go away for 3 years and think about what's in that book, and it still wouldn't be enough time to actually consider or all these different concepts and get involved with them. But it's like you're reading this one day and then that the other day and then something else the next. And like, especially when you get to logic, you're like logic with trees.
Do you remember those tree diagrams?
Yes.
That was a module in the first year, wasn't
Yes.
it? It was really, and the first year was tough because we had those 3-hour exams of those trees, and it was
Yeah.
it was a bit like maths. It was either right or wrong or not something or something. But if we both survived that,
Yeah. Universal statements, existential statements, and yeah. Anyway,
sorry,
we've,
yes,
we've,
we have.
We've left all that now, when we're here all of the wiser for it. You'll be back at Durham doing the free fringe.
Yes,
is it
so
the
there's
end of-
a couple of fantastic spoken word poets, including Aaron, who you're going to have on the show soon. We've had an opportunity to perform a couple of shows as part of Durham Free Fringe. So obviously, shout out to Dan Husband, who encouraged us to get stuck in and make those applications.
Yeah, he's done a lot, and I hope I can get to some of the events. Obviously, the stuff on in my personal life, but I would have liked to have done it myself. But I thought I'll wait till next year when there's less going on. But
Yeah.
hopefully, I'll be able to come and catch you. So when are these going to be happening?
So it's the end of July. So it sits alongside, I think there's another Durham Fringe Festival as well. I think they're different, but some of the poets might be doing some crossover. But so it'll be great to go back to Durham and perform there, having been a student there many years ago. I think what would be really, really exciting if we did a Poetical Outlaws takeover at the Durham Free Fringe one time.
I think that could be arranged at some point. Plato wouldn't have been happy with we're doing all this.
Well, I
progress
didn't
stuff,
think
would
he liked art very much.
No.
Because, we'd all be sort of performing in a cave with the shadows.
Exactly. Or wrestling.
Yes.
Yeah, he seemed to be more interested in wrestling. He dismissed the poets as having anything really legitimate to say. So
My dissertation was exploring justice and morality. The question was, does it pay to be just? And
yeah.
you, I did 15,000 words to say yes, but not in the way that you think.
right.
But yeah. So we're also doing a takeover of speech therapy in Nottingham, aren't we?
Yes. Well, that'll be on August the 7th.
Yeah.
I think we've got about 6 poets going down. Keith Ford, who runs speech therapy in Nottingham, he can sign up for the open mic if he wants. But they're taking over. They're coming to take over Poetical Outlaws on July the 17th. So I'll be signing up for the open mic for that event, and I can sit back and actually enjoy it without all the worry of hosting things, you know. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, that'll be really good. You did a mini festival in March with all the wanted fugitives.
Yes,
And that was
yes.
fantastic because it was just like, a kind of epic event with everyone who'd done a featured set since you started. That was fantastic. And I saw Keith perform. He performed some music, and he was incredible.
We had him doing his dad rap.
Aye, that was
you
mint.
know, which, funny enough, this month he's going to be
Grand,
he might become is it a Grand Star rapper?
Yes.
A Grand Star rapper.
I love it.
Sometime this
Love
month,
it.
Yeah. Right, so that's fantastic. Can we hear another poem from you?
Well, I think so. I'll just check what I've got. Oh yes, I've found one. Right, so something my mum used to say was to always put your makeup on before you put the wheelie bin out. Do you put your makeup on before you put your wheelie bin out, Gary?
No, the landlord takes the wheelie bin out, but I put it on before he takes the bins out.
You know what? Why not? So I wrote this poem, based on what my mum said as an inspiration. She did actually do that. She put her makeup on to put the wheelie bin out. And so this is a poem for her. So this is for Sheila. I go to war when I put my makeup on. It gives me a kick. The 4 lipsticks of the apocalypse. Just have a look at my apocalypse. That is why we call it war paint. It's enough to make you drop dead or faint. And just you watch when I go into fire eyeliner mode. The grenade of my waterproof mascara will explode. My nail polish colour is sparkly, neon, but nuclear. Have no fear. My mum's makeup is here. My blusher is a shield on my cheek. The mascara is a sword, so to speak. My T-zone is a war zone. I'm a soldier with a face on, in a trench on her own. The grenades are in my makeup bag. They're crucial accessories. You best be prepared for every type of enemy. Watch out! It could be a trap. Crossing the enemy line could not be done without putting on your slap. My blusher bomb will drop big time. Red explodes everywhere. On each cheek as fast as Amazon Prime. It's hard not to notice when I'm at war, 'cause your makeup leaves me wanting for so much more. I once left the house without my lippy. Then I had to turn back. I only made it halfway to the chippy. There'll be tears before bedtime if my makeup application is forgotten. A whole new level of war, but like a true soldier, she fought on. When life gets you down, maybe there's Maybelline, but don't forget to put on your sunscreen. That bullet of my lip liner is so precise. The makeup will hold you in a vice. Sometimes I put a primer on before the foundation. War is declared on the full nation. And then I take it all off at the end of the day. Give your skin a break and then do it all again. My eyebrow pencil fires cannonballs all about. And what's lurking in my eyeshadow, that'll take you out. Don't put your makeup on, mind, like you're running for the bus. Take your time, make a fuss. The devil's in the makeup and the detail. Go and invest in makeup retail. The only war crime here is to fail to apply, and I could never be agnostic during these difficult times. Always put your slap on, it acts like armour, and after you've applied you feel so much calmer, so much more calmer. Always put your makeup on, even if you're feeling sad. After all, we're all comrades. Like my mum said, you've always got to put your makeup on without a doubt. And even when you put that wheelie bin out, It's war out there. So powder your nose some more. Because all is fair with makeup and war.
Fantastic stuff. And that was inspired from your
It's my mum. She really liked clothes and fashion and makeup, and we always used to talk about moisturizers and and when she was really ill in the hospital, I think I may have read this one out to her. There was a couple of poems that I wrote around that time about things she'd said and ideas, and even if it gave her a little bit of relief, I'll take that.
I'm sure it will have. It sort of reminds me. My mum would be. She'd have to have her hair done before she put the wheelie bins out. So they're probably the same generation.
Bring it on.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Right, well, before we end, I'm going to ask you. I just thought I'd ask you couple of questions. I'm going to ask each guest when they come along. It's like basically I'm going to ask your favourite dead poet and your favourite living poet, in the same way for your lyricist and comedian, because we're going to have singer-songwriters on, and we're going to have comedians. So I just thought, well, we'll find out who the...
Let's do it.
They don't have to be your favourite. Could be your inspirational or influential. So we'll start off with a dead poet.
A dead poet, probably John Clare.
John Clare.
Who wrote I Am. T.S. Eliot, the proof rock stuff. Maybe Wilfred Owen, Dulce et decorum est pro patria mori, or I'm not sure, maybe those three. S.D. Coleridge, As Idle as a Painted Ship Upon a Painted Ocean.
Right,
Maybe.
Fantastic. A lot of that's over my head, because as you know, I don't know much about poetry, but that's part of this podcast is me learning as well about poets. So I've got something there that I could maybe look into. So what about a living poet?
A living poet. He's probably going to kill me for saying this. Just think Phil.
Just think Phil.
So Phil Wardle. I just think he's outstanding.
Fantastic. And he's from Sunderland as well, isn't he?
He has this incredible poem about Sunderland, and also a poem that follows like the alphabetic, the alphabet, and he performs them from memory.
Yes.
And he's also a very creative person. He creates his own artwork, for example, using the image of a black cat for Sunderland. So I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, but listening to him and seeing him perform is a real treat. I can remember just thoroughly enjoying it when he performed at the BBC event at Keele Square.
I went past on a taxi with my grandson at that point, yeah. But no, it's that poem you mentioned, is it the phonetic one where it goes through the alphabet?
Oh.
I was always impressed how he memorised that,
Just, I hope he hears this and knows that he's appreciated.
Well, we're going to have him on at some
Brilliant.
point. I'm going to be getting in touch and get him on the podcast as well. Right, so that's we're dead and living poet covered. What about lyricists?
Okay, my dad got me into a lot of music. So things, prog rock. Rick Wakeman, Emerson, Lake and Palmer. He also introduced me to people like Pink Floyd. So I really liked Momentary Lapse of Reason, the album, On the Turning Away. The lyrics for that song, it's not enough just to stand and stare. And also the song Learning to Fly, tongue-tied and twisted, just an earthbound misfit. So lyrics-wise, when you used to get a CD and you had the lyrics printed in the
booklet.
Yes, and I loved that.
I did, yeah.
That was like one of the best things. I loved reading the lyrics. They were like something in themselves.
Yeah.
So I guess that would be where I would go with lyrics.
Brilliant. I'm glad when you mentioned prog rock, you didn't mention Yes.
Well, yes.
Oh, no.
I did go to a couple of Rick Wakeman concerts with my dad, and they did
you?
play a couple of old numbers. But it's things like Merlin, the Magician, and just incredible. What I really like about it, and what Rick Wakeman seems to do, he creates these experiences.
Right,
It's more than
right.
just the music. You know, he comes out with a cape, and he's, you know, and plays so many keyboards, and his son's there too. I think who's just won a
right.
Grammy or something, you know, and it's about creating an experience around a story, like Kings
Right.
and
Maybe it's something I might have to go back to. It's because my old punk rock days. Yes, Rick Maven. That's the image I had, the big cape and all the keyboards. But I was into me punk rock at the time. But now that you said, it's like, you know, when we've been talking about all this expressing and performance, you know, maybe as if I went back and like watched some video of him with that in mind, you might have twisted me arm. Oh dear.
well, it could be from Gary to the Hat, Gary to the Cape. We could. You've written wearable poetry down, you know.
Oh yes, yes. I'll ask for your favourite dead and living comedian first,
Okay,
and then we'll get back and we'll fill people in on what wearable poetry is. But so for now, though, for your comedians, dead and alive.
I can only do 2 dead ones.
That's fine. It was basically, I'd done the dead and alive because I was thinking, you know, wanted, dead or alive.
Exactly.
We have wanted fugitives, you know, so.
Well, Joyce Grenfell.
Joyce Grenfell.
Okay, so that nursery piece where she says, George, don't do that. That's just, I love her and that. And then Victoria Wood.
Oh, Victoria Wood.
You know, that's just the breadth, the range of things that she did, the films, the telly, the music, Barry and Frida, all of those songs.
Yeah.
She one of my favourite memories of Christmas was sitting watching the Victoria Wood Christmas special with my mum.
Yeah. Aye. That's a good choice, Victoria, because when I was thinking about asking these questions, I was thinking about my own answers as well, you know.
And what would your answers be?
For the comedians.
Yeah.
It would have been either Bill Hicks or George Carlin. But I think Bill Hicks, because I discovered him first back in, I think it was been early 90s or late 80s. There was a DVD or VHS going around, and I put it on. I was there with a couple of friends who went, this isn't funny. But I enjoyed what he was. It was like actually listening to what he had to say. He wasn't telling like one-line jokes or anything like that, you know. And I enjoyed that. And then George Carlin, I discovered him about 20-odd years ago, you know, and then he had all these shows that I had to catch up on. But I just thought he was fantastic. And I think it's like the authenticity of them being themselves and the way they express things and actually what they were talking about, they really grabbed me, you know. It's like, and then I was thinking for me living comedian, you know, and then I was like, well, Frankie Boyle, I liked Frankie Boyle and all that, but I cannot say he's my favourite. Hopefully I'm going to see Cooper Robson's first full-length show, but I think if we're going to talk like favourite comedians, I'd try and think of someone local who's up and coming. I'd say Cooper Robson. He can just walk on stage and say, I'll read, and the whole room laughs, you know. So that would be my answer. Bill Hicks, Cooper Robson.
Sound choices.
Right, before we'd mentioned wearable poetry, didn't we? I could be baffling for a few people. Can you tell we're about wearable poetry and technology and poetry?
Oh dear. Okay, two strange concepts. I haven't a clue. Wearable poetry, I guess. So sometimes when I perform, I talked about building an experience. So I will wear a very silly outfit,
right?
As you know, and I don't really know where that came from. I think a long time ago, I saw someone with a T-shirt in London that said, today is going to be a good day.
Right.
And I thought, oh, what if what if I performed a poem with a line from the poem? So, what if I had a T-shirt saying "I love Scampie fries"?
Right. Yes.
I mean, that wearable poetry. I mean, this idea of wearable technology. You know, our iWatches, and I think there's smart rings, and you know, we wear our technology, we personalize it, we customize it. So why can't we do that with poetry? You know, I'd written a poem called Wearable Poetry that asks, you know, how would you wear your poem? Would you wear it with a hat? Would you wear it with lipstick?
Right. Yes.
Would you? You know, it's your. How would you wear it? What fabric would it be? Would it be velvet or cotton or silk? You know, what does this poem feel like? Does it feel like fabric? Does it feel like, what does it smell like? What does your poem smell like? What did my Scampie fries smell like?
Right, yeah, that's
I don't
brilliant. Because I'd read your article and...
Oh, don't do that.
Well, I read most of it, but then after we were talking about philosophy earlier, and after 3 years of reading academic stuff, you know, you sort of go... Not again.
No,
but I read it and I got the idea because there was stuff about wearable poetry, and I think there was a photo of a picture of you as a mobile.
Oh yes,
phone,
so there was ones with Fringe Festival. I think I turned up dressed as a phone.
Right.
And also there was an event in Pimlico in London where I dressed up as a Greg's pasty because I was performing a poem called Ode to Greg's.
Right, yeah.
And it's just about pushing it and seeing, you know, what would we, I mean, I could have turned up today as a packet of Scampie fries, you know, and I don't think anyone would bat an eyelid because you're all used to how ridiculous it is. But it's just a very interesting idea about performance, isn't it? How can you push it? You know, you know, what colour is this poem? You know, think of the last poem you read out loud, you performed. What would you wear, or what props would you use to enhance or bring it alive, or get the person that's sitting at the back to feel something? What would you do? Would it be a chicken shaker or a horn or nothing? You know, I don't know. Maybe it's more of an idea. So the idea of, you know, cosplay. Yeah. And then I sort of came up with the idea of poetics. You know, how would you dress up your poem as if it was a character or something? And technology enhanced poetry for a long time. I worked in tech, and obviously there's a lot of issues now about AI, using AI to create poetic output, and most publishers perhaps are saying no. You know, when you apply for a job, people say, can you not use AI to enhance your application, etc. But a lot of it is speculative. It's about asking questions. So there was one performance. I mentioned Lee Campbell. He has curated an event with Colin Osborne called POW, Play on Words. And in its early days, he invited me to do a featured set with other poets. And I did a technology-enhanced poetry set.
Right.
So I had a kind of LED mask that was customizable. So it was very multimodal and visual alongside the poem.
Oh, that sounds great.
So, so there's, you know, just asking questions about data and surveillance and all the kind of tech worries, tech anxieties, techno-normativity, all of that we think about and worry about sometimes. So it was bringing it alive, but through a kind of LED mask. Then there was like LED specs you could get, and LED hats. I think at one point I was ridiculous enough to have a pair of LED shoes. You know, I just wanted to see where it would go. I mean, it's probably crazy, but it's really nice sometimes to have the freedom to push the boundaries a bit and say, right, this is what I'm going to try and do, and I'm not frightened if it doesn't work.
That sounds great, because it's like, you're not just performing your poem. There's a lot more thought going into it, you know. It's like the costume you wear, your props that you bring into it. So there's a lot more than the writing. So I would say from that, you need to book Pip McDonald. You're not just getting someone that writes bits of words on a paper. You know, you need to get her booked. So I think that brings us to round about the end at the minute. I mean, if someone does want to book you and wants to get into contact with you, how can they do that?
I would say run a mile. Who's this idiot in colours? You can follow me on Instagram at PipMac6. I think Instagram's probably the best.
Yeah.
You'll probably find me performing at the open mic at Poetic Outlaws every month.
Yes, excellent. Oh, thank you very much, Pip.
Thank you, Gary.
You've been a wonderful guest. Thank you to everybody for listening and tuning in or watching if you're watching the video. Until next time, goodbye.
Poetical Outlaws.